For the past 20 years, I have been helping Malaysia and other South Asians to speak better English. And through training thousands of Southeast Asians, I have discovered a very surprising truth. I have discovered that how well somebody communicates in English actually has very little to do with uh, their English level. It has a lot to do with their attitude toward English. There are people out there who have a very low level of English, and they can communicate very well. One of them that I remember was a student, a participant of mine named Faisal. He was a factor supervisor. English level very low. But this guy could just sit and listen to anybody, very calm and clearly. And then he could respond. Absolutely express his thoughts beautifully at a very low level of English. So today I want to share with you what is different about people like Faisal, how they do it. And second of all, why is this so important not only to you, but to your children, to your community, and to the future of Malaysia. And third of all, what's one thing you can do starting today? If you want to speak with that confidence that people like Faisal have, first of all, what is so different? How do people like Faisal do it? To answer that question, I'm going to take you back about 10 years, okay? I was training staff at the time, and my doctor at the time was taking piano lesson. And I started to notice two really strong similarities between my doctor's attitude or thinking toward playing the piano and a lot of Malaysia thinking or attitude towards English. First of all, I should tell you my doctor absolutely had piano. Had the listen, had the practicing. This is my daughter practicing piano, okay? This is as good as it got. This is the real thing, and she tried going to piano lesson. Because to my daughter going to piano lesson, she was filled with this sort of trick. Because it was all about not screwing up right. Because like a lot of piano students, to both my doctor and her teacher, her success in piano was measured by how few mistakes she made. At the same time, I noticed that a lot of Malaysians went into English conversation with the same sort of feeling of dread. This sort of feeling that they were going to be judged by how many mistakes they were going to make. And when here or not they were going to scrape up. Now, the second similarity that I noticed was to do with self-image. My doctor, she knew what good piano sounded like. Because we have all heard good piano, and she knew what her level was, and she knew how long she had to play like that. And a lot of Malaysia, I noticed, had this idea of what good proper English is supposed to sound like. And what there I see a lot of you know. And what their English sounds like. And how far they would have to go to get there. And they also felt like they were, like my doctor just bet. But piano player, but English speaker, right? My English not so good. Cannot, sorry. So I could see this similarity, but I still could not figure out. Okay, what is about these people like Faisal that are so different, that can just do it smoothly, calmly, with confidence? One day I discovered that answer, and I discovered it quite by chance. It was a day when my computer broke down and I had to go to a cyber cafe. Okay, it was my first time. I discovered this place. Okay, they are really gross. They are smell and they are filled with boys, and they are all playing noise for violent game. They are just discussion place, but I had to go there. So I sat down and I started noticing this guy beside me. And I became very interested in this guy next to me. Now, this guy is playing this game. That is basically, it's like shooting people until they die. And that's it. That's the game, right? And I noticed that this guy is not very good. In fact, he's terrible, right? Because I'm looking and I'm seeing like a lot of shooting and not much game, right? What really interested me was behind this lost player were three of his friends, sort of standing there watching him play. What I really noticed was, even though this guy was terrible, even though his friends were watching him, there was no embarrassment, there was no feeling of being judged. There was no sadness. In fact, quite the opposite. This guy total focused on the bad guys, smile on his face, and how he can think about is killing this guy's right. I'm watching him and I suddenly realized this is the same attitude that people like Faisal have when they speak English, just like this guy. When Faisal goes into an English conversation, he doesn't feel judged. He is entirely focused on the person that he is speaking to and the result he wants to get. He's got no self-awareness, no thoughts about his own mistakes. I want to share with you a really true example to play a picture of somebody who speaks English like they are playing piano, and someone who speaks English like they are playing a computer game. This is a true story. It happened to me. A while ago, I was in a PetSmart. I had to buy Omega. My doctor said I should get Omega. And I go to the cell, there's turn to Omega. There's Omega that hide in THR, Omega that is H in EPA, and I don't know which one to buy. No, the sales rep happened to be there, and I saw she like this well-dressed professional woman. I walked over to her, and I see this look as she see me. This sort of is a look very well. Here is go all white. It's sort of the panic. Oh my God! I have got to speak to a native speaker. She's going to judge me and notice my mistake. I go up to her and I explain my situation. Which omega do I get? And she start explaining to me everything about THI and EPA you could possible imagine. She speaks very quickly, goes all around in circles. And when she finishes, no idea what to buy. So I turned to the girl behind the counter. No, the girl behind the counter I heard here before. Her English level is very low. But when I walk over to her, this girl, there's no fear. In fact, she is just looking at me. You know that look like, yeah, okay, so how? Yeah, I have been in Malaysia a long time. So I go up to her and I explain to the problem. EPA and THI. She looks at me. She say, okay, yeah. Oh, EPA for heart, THA for brain. Your heart okay or not? So I said, yeah. I said my heart is really, I think it's pretty good. She say, you brain okay or not? I say, no, my brain is. She say, your brain okay or not? I say, no, my brain is not as good as it used to be. She looks and say, okay, you take omega, THA, problem solved, right? So we have got two different kinds of communicator. We have got the onwards got a high level, but total focus on herself and getting it right, and therefore very ineffective. We have got another one, low level, totally focused on the person. She's talking to on getting a result. Effective and trying to list the difference. Now, why is this distinction so important not just to you, to your children, but to the future of Malaysia and countries like Malaysia? And to answer that, let's take a look at who actually is speaking English in the world today, okay? So if we look at all of the English conversation in the whole world taking place right now on planet Earth, we would see that for every native speaker, like me, there are 5 non-native speakers. And if we listen to every conversation in English on planet Earth right now, we would notice that 19.6 of percentage of this conversation involve non-native only involve not native English speaker only. For percentage of this conversation or native speaker to native speaker. This is not my language anymore. This language belongs to you. It's not an art to be mastered. It's just a tool to use to get a result. And I want to give you a really live example of what English is today in the world. Real English today is another true story. I was a barbecue a little while ago. This was a barbecue for engineers from all over the world, and they were making hot dogs. Some of the hot dogs were regular hot dogs, and some were these cheese hot dogs, with the cheese in the middle. A French engineer is cooking the hot dogs, and he turns to his Korean engineer, and he say, "What you like a hot dog?" And the Korean guy say, "Yes, please." He say, "Do you want to cheese?" And Korean guy looks around at the table. He say, I know see cheese. The French guy say, the hot dog is contain the cheese. The Korea guy does not understand him right. So the French engineer tries against that the hot dog is making from with the cheese. Korea guy still does not understand. He tries again. He said the hot dog is coming from. No, the cheese is coming from the hot dog. Korea guy cannot understand. Now this Japanese engineer who is been listening to this conversation turns to the Korea engineer and he say, cheese integrator. He understand, okay? Everybody understand. So this is what English is today. It's just a tool to play around with to get a result. Like a computer game. No, the challenge is that we know in school all around the world. English is not really being taught. It's a tool to play with. It's still being taught. It's an art to master. And students are just more encouraged than encouraged. Some of you might remember the old conversation exam in school. Does everybody remember in school when you get a question about a text that you read? You have to read some text, right? And then answer a question to show that you understood the text. And this may have happened to you that you saw you understood the text, but you got a big because you made a little grammar mistake. Like this students clearly understood paragraph 4. But no correct, because he left the letter end of the word improvement. But in the real world, what will matter? In the real world, what will matter is, did you understand the email? Or did you understand your customer so that you can go ahead and take action? No, the problem that I see here over and over is that people take the attitude they develop about English in school, and they bring it into their adult life and into their work. And if you are in a stressful situation and you are having a conversation, you are trying to give a result to someone and see it correctly, your brain multitasks. It cannot do two things at once. And what I see is the brain just sitting down, and you may recognize these three symptoms of the brain sitting down. The first one is that you're listening, guys. Someone is talking to you and you are so busy thinking about how you are going to respond and express yourself correctly. You do not actually hear what the other person said, and I can see a lot of nodding in the audience. The second thing to do is your speaking. Your mind sort of shut down, and that vocabulary you do know just disperse, and the words don't come out. The third thing to gain is your confidence. The worst thing about this you might only be unconfident because you cannot express yourself clearly. But to the person talking to you, they may misunderstand this as a lack of confidence in your ability to do the job to perform. So if you want to speak English like Faisal with that great confidence, here's the one thing you can do. When you speak, don't focus on yourself. Focus on the other person and the result you want to achieve. imagine a nice generation of Malaysia, all with the wonderful confidence in communication that Faisal has. At any level of English, because let's remember that English today is not an art to be mastered, it's just a tool to use to get a result. And that tool belongs to you. Thank you.